saw in the social media, because I scan social media. They think I'm dying tomorrow. Someone said, he has not been seen, even traditional ceremony. Actually, traditional ceremony last weekend, I sent another minister to represent. It's deliberate. It's a decision I've taken to work on these things. So otherwise, thank you very much. Minister, thank you for...
Welcome to Infinite News, your trusted voice, both local and global. We are proudly independent, with no political affiliations and no bias. At Infinite, we don't take sides. We amplify the voices that matter. From the streets of Lusaka to the suburbs of Sydney, from Eastern Province to Western Province, from America to Austria, from
outside the State House grounds once we end. So I will ask my colleagues now on the Zambian side to please start to introduce yourselves.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Excellency. My name is Angmona Simon. I'm Director for Foreign Trade in the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Excellency. My name is Uwasi Mungandi. I'm Director for Development Cooperation and International Organizations in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Excellency and your team. My name is Conrad Mlaya, the CEO of IDC.
Good morning, Mr. President, Honorable Ministers and Excellency. My name is Lillian Buania, Permanent Secretary responsible for trade in the Ministry of Commerce.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Excellency and team. My name is Mulele, Maketo Mulele. I'm Permanent Secretary, Economic Management and Finance in the Ministry of Finance and National Planning.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Excellency team. My name is Matembo Dixon, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
I'm Itambuyu Anderson, the Permanent Secretary responsible for International Relations and Cooperation in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. President, Excellency and team, good morning. My name is Chipoka Mlenga, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Tombe Musokotwane, Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Ambassador and your colleagues. My name is Jack Mwimbo, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Excellency and team. Mulambo Haimbe, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, which I'm sure you know. Thank you.
We can proceed with it.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Cully Nelson. I'm a Senior Commercial Officer representing the U.S. Commerce Department.
Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues. I'm Katrice Abani, the Political and Economic Counselor of the U.S. Embassy.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Lanisa Wahid, the Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy.
Good morning, Mr. President, and your team, Mike Gonzalez, U.S. Ambassador.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Gonzalez, I now invite you to address the President.
Mr. President, thank you so much for inviting me and my team to State House, along with your colleagues from Cabinet and the relevant ministries for this meeting. I was saying to the PS earlier, it was 30 years ago tomorrow that I first stepped foot in Zambia, hitchhiking from Namibia to Zimbabwe. And it was then that this country caught my attention. As I think I've told you in the past, my daughter took her first steps in Livingston 15 years ago. So I appreciate this opportunity for us to come together to review the U.S.-Zambia bilateral relationship. A relationship that I think to date has underperformed our potential. We have a history of huge amounts of development assistance that has failed to spur systemic development despite massive potential across this economy and nation. The business environment has not succeeded in attracting American businesses to spur that opportunity to turn into a reality, and an environment where others have been able to exploit the environment, labor, the laws at the cost of the Zambian people. So today's meeting, I believe, is an opportunity for us to reset the relationship for mutual benefit, a benefit that delivers for both countries and for our peoples. As you no doubt everyone in the world has seen, the United States approach to foreign policy has shifted dramatically over the past 6 months of the Trump administration, shifting most boldly in a place like Zambia from an orientation of a aid or assistance-led model of development to a model of development based in commerce, an issue that you and I have talked about since my very first day in country, that I think we're both very passionate about seeing realized. But also an orientation of shifting beyond words to tangible actions, where the actions will be what resonates rather than the commitments. Where tangible benefits come to both of our countries, and not only our countries, but our peoples. As we've seen in recent months, policy actions in Washington are moving very, very quickly, as well as announcements. I am committed, as is my team, to support Zambia in efforts to seize the moment, to act now, to really turn this relationship to one that delivers much more tangibly, much more boldly for both of our countries. This is not about a desire to engage at just any cost. It's not about non-disclosure agreements. It's not about heavy debt that has very little lasting to show for it. Certainly not about polluting the environment or exploiting labor. It's about transparent and accountable business and commerce that benefits both countries, that benefits businesses, where businesses pay their taxes, where businesses abide by their laws, and ultimately where the people of both of our countries benefit. So, Mr. President, again, thank you so much for inviting me and my team for this very timely meeting. I appreciate it.
Mr. President, before you come in, maybe the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I invite you. The Minister of Commerce. Okay. Minister of Commerce, would you like to? Thank you for the guidance, Mr. President. Honorable Minister, I invite you to take the floor before the President responds.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the Ambassador, Your Excellency, for those opening remarks. Mr. President, indeed, as Ambassador has mentioned, we have had significant engagement over the last month or so at permanent secretary level as well as at minister level. And amongst the areas that we agreed was the need for communication, more effective communication between ourselves and our partners, and of course, including the US. The idea is that with increased communication, certain areas which need quick intervention in our relationship and in matters that are of mutual concern to the two countries would quickly be addressed. We've also put in place a deliberate policy that would increase engagement in a scheduled manner, again, as part of the process of increasing communication and as part of the process of continuing to strengthen the already strong ties between ourselves and the US. Mr. President, indeed, as the Ambassador has mentioned, with the new administrative changes in the US at government level and with the shift in policy, this is part of our response jointly to making sure that we keep up with the changes that are taking place in the US. So that, again, Mr. President, this long-standing friendship is sustained and grows from strength to strength. And most importantly, Mr. President, as well, we want to create an environment from the diplomatic perspective that will assist in the other sectors so that we see mutual benefit, as the Ambassador has hinted, from a business perspective, but also beyond that. So I thought also to just underscore that, Mr. President. I thank you. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pierce, Foreign Affairs. First, let me just welcome Ambassador Gonzalez and your team to State House. As always, we're pleased to have you here, and also acknowledge my colleagues, cabinet colleagues that are here, and senior government officials. I also want to indicate that the President actually occasioned this meeting. I initiated this meeting so that we could have this conversation. I had a chat with my colleagues that deal with our relations with other countries, friendly, sisterly, brotherly countries. So hence the team that you see here. I want to say from the outset that the Minister of Infrastructure should have been here, and the Minister of Transport, because amongst the things that we want to raise or discuss is the Lobito corridor. So in our content, and you've seen that my colleagues will wait until that time when we'll engage in those issues where we think there's a lot of value we can generate by working together in a more structured way. So I then took this decision to call this meeting so that we can have a conversation on how we can develop our long-standing relationship. The U.S. and Zambia have a long-standing relationship. In many areas, leaders before us, President Kaunda for us, and obviously several leaders in the U.S. who have come through, irrespective of the political parties that they come from, Republican, Democrat, we've maintained a relationship, a strong relationship with the U.S. Government in many spheres, as I've said. But we have also, if you like, we have had here change of governments. Now there are 4 political parties that have run this country. So UNIP, our Independence Party, MMD, different political party. So UNIP, 27 years, 20 years of MMD, 10 years of PF. We are in our first 10. We do believe we'll get a second 10. Catches the people of Zambia, God's will. But that's a subject for another discussion. But the point I'm making, Ambassador and team, is that it does not really matter for the American people. It shouldn't matter for the American people. It shouldn't matter for the Zambian people that there is a Republican president, there is a Democrat president. Maybe who knows, one day there will be another party or an independent president, as Ross Perot tried to be at some point to be president of America. For us in Zambia, Americans are our friends, friends of Zambians. And I think it's important that we who perform functions at particular times do understand that we need to continue building and advancing the U.S.-Zambia partnership. I thought I should say that because I think that's the way it should be. So now I initiated this meeting so that first we can really record our appreciation of this partnership, including when we took office, the issue around our economic, social policies, our vision, our agenda as a UPND government. Amongst those was to achieve debt restructuring. And I want to record our appreciation of the U.S. government over the Zambia debt restructuring, which really was, the debt was talking our headroom to focus on the development agenda, which you talked about. And I want to acknowledge and agree that really the environment that we inherited ourselves didn't lend itself to doing a lot more business with not just the Americans, but with any other country, because we were a basket case. We couldn't really attract investment, but we worked hard to achieve debt restructuring. I think today, Minister, Finance, we must be sitting around 90+% of achieving our debt restructuring in the different categories, 1, 2, and I think 3. But the message here is that we appreciate the support of the U.S. government and the people of America in assisting us achieve a higher level of debt restructuring. Very complicated exercise, I must say. And we know that the World Bank, the IMF are housed in the US, and the IMF, World Bank were very supportive of our debt restructuring program. And so I thought it's an opportunity for me to send this message through you to the American people. We started with a democratic government. We are now with a Republican government. As I said, our focus remains the same, to work with the Americans, so that Zambians and Americans continue developing their relationship. Government to government, business to business, government to business, and vice versa, and person to person. Thank you very much. So I also thought that it's important that now we are in this space of a reasonable achievement in debt restructuring. In our view, Ambassador, huge achievement from where we were 4 years ago on the rule of law, law and order in the streets, in the bus stops. It was chaotic here. And I can appreciate for those who were not here at the time. I don't think you can imagine what the situation was. It's difficult to imagine, humanly possible. But we're happy that it's not a one-shot solution, it's a process. But we are happy that we've by and large restored law and order. We know we have now new issues lingering around mineral resources, illegal mining, unsafe mining, informal trade. We want to agree with you. These are some of the areas we want to discuss to see how we can manage these areas. But by and large, I'm talking about the rule of law. We set out also to reconstruct the mining sector. So as a major sector, which we always, as a country, have relied on, although we now want to drive diversification, but we cannot leave alone a key sector, such as the mining sector. And for the first time in the history of our country's mining experience, we believe this year will achieve close to, if not 1 million tons of copper. And that's why you see a reasonable appreciation in the local currency, because the supply side of dollars is actually US dollars, I must say, not Canadian dollars, but US dollars. is the flows, the supply side is improving. And it's very important to us who are still largely import dependent that we can improve the supply of dollars. So it's our focal area, as I said, US dollars. I don't have to tell the story. I think you've seen for yourselves the restoration of, Mopani, KCM, 28 shaft, which was out of commission for 23 years, right? If you like, 2-3 presidents before me left these problems. Kalengwa mine was out of commission for 47 years. So literally all the 6 presidents before me found that problem, left it in that situation. We have brought back Kalengwa mine. That tells you this government is focused on getting the economy going, because we know that's where jobs are. We know that's where business opportunities are. We know that that's where treasury revenue is to support free education. 2 million kids back in school once we introduced our free education policy. Figures are all, numbers don't lie, right? You compare that to where we were 4 years ago, we had a minus 2.8% GDP. Last year in the West drought, in living memory, we still managed to post 4% GDP. This year, I know my colleagues are conservative, but they like to be aggressive. We think we'll whisper to 6% GDP growth. My colleagues are saying 5.8. I disagree with them, but we move as a team. So it is that ambitious agenda we have, Ambassador, to grow the economy. And we know that this economy grows, the obvious benefits I talked about, but also to invest in democracy, to invest in the rule of law. Otherwise, we can just talk about those things. I remember my first year trip, government trip to the US. I was presenting at a panel where I said democracy must deliver results, and the results of democracy must be seen in the economy, in jobs, in business opportunities, Your Excellency, not just for FDI, but also for local businesses. Very important. Otherwise, if the FDI comes in here, they don't have suppliers of goods and services, they don't even have a state supply of quality labor, how will they operate in this environment? So we think this government is clear and its intent on there. So now, I come back to why I called the meeting. So I thought that it's time now that we have reasonable stability. There will always be issues that arise, like this illegal money. We now need to reset our relationships with partners such as the US, so that we can be more intentional, we can be more deliberate. More so that there's a change of, major change of policy from the US under President Trump. So we want to take advantage of those, not really to see them as problems, but to see them as opportunities, Ambassador, and not to cry about the ills of the past. Yes, we need to know the history in order to manage the present and the future better. But I want to veer on the side of positivity. What can we do together? President Trump is calling back aid, not to Zambia only. He's calling back to aid across the world. It's painful. It is sudden. One always wishes that they would have been given an opportunity to adjust. But he's doing the right thing for the people of America, who elected him into office. It's our job to do what is right for the people of Zambia, who elected him into office. It's our primary responsibility. So as we respond to the clawback on aid, painful, yes. ARVs, yes. But for us, we're saying, let's flip the coin. What is it that we can do with a new approach from America? And that's why we want today to talk about a reset. So we don't want to mourn Ambassador Gonzalez. We want to say the coin has two sides. What is it that we can do to find convergence between the new thrust in America and the President Trump and our own desire to grow the economy? Our Trump word now, Trump word is growth, growth, and more growth. For jobs, for business opportunities, for treasury income, to take care of the sick, the old, the young, free education, differently abled, story goes on. We understand that it's not easy. We know it. Change is always resisted. We know it. But we are getting there. Numbers are showing that we are getting there. We would like to do more. No question about it. And that's where the partnership comes in now. Your reset, our reset. How do we have convergence? Rather than mourning and groaning and sniping at each other. We want to find each other. Really, this is the message. And the thrust of our push, as the media leaves us, so we can go into other specific issues, is 4 areas. We reduce what we want to do in 4 areas. Because you can do many things. One is to mobilize capital, to mobilize investable capital. Investments, trade in there. So you will see today we'll discuss the tariff issues. How do we reach out to each other if we are moving apart from each other? I think that's a fair thing to say. Right? But no blame game. Americans doing what is good for Americans. We want to do what's good for Zambia. Small as we are. We have our intentions clear. Is there a meeting ground? I think there is. So I'm saying capital mobilization, but you also know what I'm going to say next. Fairly priced capital. The price of capital for Zambia, for Africa, has been too high. For centuries, actually. It's not even just because of the new government in the US, but for centuries. And that's why, Your Excellency, you hear us talk about, on the continent now, a reset of the global financial system, so that Africa pays a fair price for the capital that it mobilizes. Every country mobilizes capital. Even the richest on earth, they do mobilize capital, investments, trade. Number 2, technology. We would like to access technology. Ambassador Gonzalez and team, and America is well placed in this area. Technology that will help us accelerate our economic and social growth. Give you an idea, digital platforms in the government what we're calling e-government. Revenue collection, inefficient. I agree with you. We are underperforming there. But we need the digital platforms that are affordable, but will help us generate more revenue. But will also help us to service our country better, citizens. I know on your visa issues, there's an issue about digital platforms on assessing, doing passports and other things. Let's continue to get to that. But generally, I'm just giving an example of what we are looking for at digital space, technology space. We're looking at irrigation technology for agriculture, Ambassador Gonzalez. We're looking at energy, technology in energy, solar. We're looking at how do we manage our forests? How do we manage our minerals? How do we avoid illegal mining? If we had technological tools that allow us to see who is digging strange holes, and quickly we check with the mining cadastre, that place has it got a license? Then we will know. Before we have 5,000 people there, we will know that there's something going on there. I think that technology is available in the world. So that's what we're doing. I've only given context. Number 3, Ambassador Gonzalez. We are looking for partnerships, joint ventures. My commerce colleague there. Joint ventures, partnerships, vested interest in each other to exploit our mineral resources in a manner that benefits the partner, investment partner, in a manner that benefits the country. I'm just giving context. I think our reset, and given President Trump's push for transactions, for trade, this is the biggest opportunity. I see myself. I think we will get so busy if we start focusing on these things, working together, positively, and sharing interest. And when we have joint ventures, Ambassador Gonzalez, from my business scenes, we will have a reason to work together and protect each other's business. Because we have joint businesses. We don't want the model of the past where FDI came and they had 100% of shares in our country. No. We want FDI that comes, that works with us at the equity level, at the management level. We want the best skills. Even if they're from outside, but if one skilled person helps us to employ 100 Zambians, we should give the work permit. That's why that minister is sitting here. That's why that PS is sitting here. So that we can make our position very clear as to what is desirable for us. So skills to deliver commercial success in our joint venture business. Number 4, Ambassador Gonzalez, focusing on the area of value addition. So when we are mining, let me go back to joint ventures. Mingomba is our mine. There's a joint venture between Corporate of America and the Zambian government through ZCMIH. So at times we discuss here, and Mingomba was seated there, Mingomba representative was seated here, we were talking about local content. Our minister is on the mines. Our bill on local content. And I could see that we're totally missing each other here. Because the local content bill is important for us to trigger economic growth, to create more jobs and business opportunity. Why I thought we were missing each other at the beginning. At the end, when we explained the meaning and the intent of that, we were in agreement, underscoring the importance of dialogue. And it's only last week, Ambassador Gonzalez, that the Chamber of Mines was here, and the big individual companies were also seated here. Barry Goat, Lumwana, First Quanta, Pani, Mingomba. And we sat here to reach consensus on that scope of local content, the intent, and how we can operationalize it. Who else was in the room? The World Bank. So we asked the World Bank to sit with us to see if they can assist us as to what would be the best practice. which doesn't hurt the investors, doesn't hurt the country and our ambitions. Who else was in the room? Minister of Mines, Cadastre, PS, State House was here, Finance was here. After a 1-hour meeting, we were agreed. Because we were talking at cross purposes and we were sending signals into the market, wrong signals. Not just the domestic market, but the regional market and the global market. Which investor sends the wrong signal to damage the prospects of commercial success in the country they've invested? Sounds crazy. To me, at least. And when we reached out to each other, explained to each other, we signed off. And I'm glad to say that unless some exterior intervention comes in, we should be signing off the local content, which includes making a ball mill, which has broken down at a mine, instead of procuring it from Australia, which would take 3 months, we should make it available for the mine operations within the shortest possible time. It helps the mine meet its production targets with an Australian investor, with a Canadian investor, with an American investor. It helps us achieve our 1 million tons of copper this year and towards 3 million tons. Common interest. But let me not over-elaborate. That is the issue. I return to joint ventures, I return to certain things, but back now to value addition. We would like to process more. Right now, our mines is not here. We are working, Minister of Finance, you're here. We're working to get our concentrates out for a period because our processing plants are down, both at KCA and Mobile, for this window. So we are allowing that, which means we are losing a little bit more processing activity here. But the processors are out. So now we are saying to the Mobani, to KCF, can they work quick to repair the process so that we can take our copper to the next stage instead of sending it to a foreign country. And that foreign country could be anyone, including yours. So we would rather we process here so that we create more jobs and grow our economy. And we would like now the American technology to help us improve our processing capacity for our metal and other areas. So if you see how we continue going up and down, we focus on these 4 things. Capital, very priced, investment trade, technology, 3, joint ventures, 4, value addition processing, and we're good to go. The American firm will make more money from its copper businesses here. The Zambian agenda will be achieved. Employment will be achieved. More tax revenue. With a digital tax collection, which I talked about, ZRA needs to know what. The other day, Mopani sat there, and we had ZRA sitting there, ambassador, and a couple of other people. Now we are able, ZRA is able to see how much production is happening underground, over a kilometer in Mopani, because of technology. Now we are saying we need this to go to other mines, all of the mines in the sector. So if the mining regulator says we want a minimum technology for each miner who produces over 50,000 metric tons, you know why I'm saying that? Because smaller mines may struggle to buy the technology. But they can use a common user facility, isn't it? I think, Ambassador and Deputy, if we worked along these lines in resetting our relationship, we'll find more joy and happiness. We will find more rewards. I must also say that we would like the American businesses, my colleague there, to work faster. We're a small economy, we're in a hurry. The decision process in the American boardrooms is slow. That's not a criticism. That's a message we're sending so that we can achieve these objectives together. together. It's a general point I make. Very slow. I understand. These are big corporates, right? Which are listed on stock exchanges. And there are rules on how you make decisions. But we are saying maybe they can also hear us out. How can they make decisions quicker? I'm only elected for 5 years. President Trump is elected for 4 years. And you can see in 6 months, he's loaded a lot of decisions. He knows that he's got only 4 years. And maybe 3 years is all he has, because the 4th year is election year. So, you need to feel sympathetic to us who are elected, because we want to deliver within the scope of time we're elected. And the civil servants, public servants, yourself, you're all public servants, these are public servants, you need to work together to help deliver President Trump's agenda to the people who elected him, American people. That's why in swing states, which normally are divided, he won. Why did he win in the swing states? I think it's the message he gave to the people of America. One of it is immigration. So when he's doing what he's doing in immigration now, are we surprised? Should an American be surprised? He said so. Right? I support what he's doing because the American people bought his message and voted for him in all the 6, 7 swing states. I can't remember the number now. So you're doing the right thing for the people of America. It's for us to do what is right for the people of Zambia. And that must be respected also, Ambassador Gonzalez. You diplomats must respect that we are doing what is supposed to be done for the people of Zambia first. In doing that, we meet in the middle, where American interests meet with Zambian interests. Small as we are, we also know what we want. We need your support. I thought I should say it this way, and I would like to end here by saying, Ambassador, we're very pleased that you were able to respond quickly to this meeting. It shows the depth of our partnership and our intentions to work together to achieve what is good for America, what's good for us. So, and I listened to you very carefully. I agree with you. We have been underperforming. We can do more. No question about it. But let's reach out to each other. That's why I called this meeting. I'm very happy the team is here. And thank you very much. The team is here. We've been joined by the Minister of Infrastructure, who represented me at the Lovito meeting and the U.S. Business Forum in Angola. If you noticed, in the last 1 month, I've not been traveling outside, even inside, because of the funeral that we need to put to bed. It's a decision I've taken. I don't want to be misunderstood by fellow citizens. So the minister went to represent me and the Minister of Transport at the Lovito corridor. I think they had good meetings, met some US businesses there. And this Minister of Finance represented me at a meeting I really wanted to go to in Italy over the Mattei plan. And I think we had very good meetings, touched on Lovito. That meeting also touched on Lovito. Also the Minister of Foreign Affairs represented me in, where were you recently? In Spain. A meeting that is financing for development, similar things we're talking about. And I chose to stay around, I'm just repeating this, so that we can find closure to this funeral. We can't have a situation like this. It's really unnecessary. It's not the way we respect the dead in our culture, African culture. I believe many cultures. So we're looking for a solution in that direction. Quietly, we're talking to each other with the family. I thought I should say so. So since we live together here, you will know why the president is taking a little bit of not too much pushing things. So I saw in the social media, because I scan social media, they think I'm dying tomorrow. Someone said, he has not been seen, even traditional ceremony. Actually, traditional ceremony last weekend, I sent another minister to represent. It's deliberate. It's a decision I've taken to work on these things. So otherwise, thank you very much. Minister, thank you for